You have two chances to join Michael Voris in Canada. The first in Ottawa on May 24th, and the second on May 26th in Toronto, where he'll be speaking about the new evangelization and living your faith with charity and boldness. For all the details, just click on either of the links in the description.
Australian doctors say kids suffer from same-sex unions. Obama's political endorsement becomes a believer's rebuff. And negotiations between Rome and the SSPX may cause a split. Those stories and more just ahead on Catholic News Roundup.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium. CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Homosexual marriage hurts kids. A psychiatrist's decision to support traditional marriage is causing an uproar in Australia as doctors in the country come together to agree that homosexual marriage is harmful to children. The deputy chief psychiatrist of Victoria is one of 150 doctors who wrote a submission to the Senate saying, quote, "Children who grow up in a family with a mother and father do better in all parameters than children without," end quote. Professor Kuravila George is now being excoriated by his colleagues in the Victorian Equal Opportunity and Human Rights Commission, who are now demanding he be fired from their board for expressing his views. The debate over homosexual marriage is heating up in Australia after two members of parliament recently called for its legalization. Obama's Theologians. 3 Jesuit theologians are supporting Obama's endorsement of gay marriage. Paul Lakeland, Jesuit professor at Fairfield University, claims that Catholic teaching is, quote, "not really an argument that has a theological justification," end quote. Laicized priest Daniel McGuire, another Jesuit at Marquette University, agrees, arguing, quote, "Archbishop Dolan and the United States Catholic Conference are misrepresenting Catholic teaching and are trying to present their idiosyncratic minority view as the Catholic position, and it's not," end quote. And from the West Coast, dissenting Jesuit professor Frank Perella of Santa Clara University echoes Lakeland and McGuire, saying he sees nothing in the Gospels supporting the Church's teaching on same-sex marriage. Same-sex politics. More than a few pastors are expressing concern over Obama's announcement of support for same-sex marriage. Shortly after Obama's statement on gay marriage, he held a conference call with African-American pastors to address their worries. Even the president's own faith advisor, the Reverend Joel Hunter, opposes his pro-same-sex marriage stance. Obama is assuring pastors he will protect religious liberty, although some doubt this in light of his recent birth control mandate, which violates the consciences of Catholic faithful and some Protestant denominations as well. Not surprisingly, a new Gallup poll shows twice as many Americans say Obama's endorsement of same-sex marriage will make them less likely to vote for him than those who say it will make them more likely to vote for him. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy, in print and on the web, and RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
SSPX split possible. The Society of St. Pius X may split upon unification with Rome, according to the bishop in charge of the group. Bishop Bernard Fillet reminded the media in an interview, the deal is not done, insisting he agrees with Pope Benedict that Vatican II must be put within the tradition of the Church, according to the proper understanding of it. The potential problem, Fillet says, is how the Council of Vatican II is applied within Catholic tradition, posing the question, quote, "Is what happens really in coherence or in harmony with tradition?" Fillet's comments come as many speculate Benedict XVI will approve a canonical agreement giving the SSPX completely regularized status within the Church and possibly even their own prelature. Mammoth March. Canada's annual March for Life was held this past weekend, and it was one for the record books. Some 20,000 Canadians came out to support the cause, many of them under the age of 30. This number may seem insignificant, but when put into U.S. population terms, it's equivalent to a crowd of almost 180,000. The Archbishop of Ottawa also confirmed his support of the profile cause at a recent Mass, citing the innocence and indefensibility of children in the womb, and thus the need to protect the most vulnerable among us. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Thanks for tuning in today. Be sure and tune in tomorrow for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com. Also be sure to check out The Vortex, where Michael addresses full-blown retreat. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tell all your friends about us. And as always, God bless you.
Become a RealCatholicTV.com premium member. It's all the news
Catholic News Roundup
that isn't fit to print.